Hey, it's Acoustic Steve-O, the Human Patriot, coming to you from the universe. Join me on my journey. Let's have some fun. Now, I'm going to start a new series where I kind of delve a little bit into some Bible verses because this is my favorite book. I am not a Christian. I am Christian adjacent. That means most everything that's in this book, as far as values, a lot of wisdom, what's right and what's wrong. For the most part, there's some things I do disagree on, right and wrong with. But there's a great deal of how to live your life on earth as a human being found in this book, especially the following of Jesus Christ. Because even though I don't even know or have faith that Jesus Christ ever existed, I believe it's quite possible he was created by a bunch of mystics. But regardless of that, the manifested life that's recorded in the Gospels as what I believe to be an allegory or a parable of sorts for how to ascend this low vibration thing we're living in and become our true potential as human beings, is epitomized by Jesus Christ, right? So I am a follower of Christ, even though I'm not a Christian. I know that sounds weird, and I don't believe in heaven and hell, but there's no other way that I've seen for how to operate outside of what is written down and manifested in the teachings of Jesus Christ and what he was actually saying, because you have to look deeper, all right? And I'm going to be going into that, looking deeper into the esoteric wisdom that's in this book. Esotericism, it's just basically means ancient spiritual wisdom, okay? In a nutshell, I'm sure there's a lot of other ways people would define it, but that's the way I'm going to define it. It's ancient spiritual wisdom of the universe. It's natural law, basically, and natural law is just how this universe is governed, and that's what I'm going to start with in this. I'm going to start with my favorite Bible verse, and I'm going to tell you why it's my favorite Bible verse. So here we go. We're going with it's actually a number of verses, but I'm going to read a section in here. I'm going to start with Genesis 1:14, all right? And God said, "Let there be lights in the vault of the sky to separate the day from the night, and let them serve as signs to mark sacred times and days and years. And let them be lights in the vault of the sky to give light on earth." And it was so. God made two great lights, the greater light to govern the day, and the lesser light to govern the night. He also made the stars. Now this is really it right here, verse 17. God set them in the vault of the sky to give light on the earth, to govern the day and the night. The stars govern the day and the night. Think about what's being said there, okay? I'm going to get back to that. And to separate light from darkness. Light from darkness, all right? And God saw that it was good. So I'm going to stop there, all right? Now, when you look a little deeper, this is an awesome Bible. It's a New International Version, which means it takes the ancient language and tries to get as close as it possibly can to our modern vernacular and what's being said, all right? That's why I really like this. And this is a study Bible, so it gives you these little things in the middle here that correspond to the verses and tie them to other verses. So I'm going to go ahead and move over to Jeremiah 33:20 and 25, okay? because that's what's tagged in the section I just read. So, Jeremiah 33, 20, and 25. Alright, so I'm going to start with 20. I'm just going to read for a minute. It says, "This is what the Lord says. If you can break my covenant with the day and my covenant with the night, so that day and night no longer come at their appointed time, then my covenant with David, my servant, and my covenant with the Levites who are priests," blah, blah, blah. You can forget all that after the "then my covenant." Because what's being said in verse 20, that's why it said 20 and 25. It didn't have all this other stuff in the middle, because there's something being said here, all right? And I'm going to read 25. I'm just going to skip over the middle of all that. 25 said, "This is what the Lord says. If I have not made my covenant with day and night and established the laws of heaven and earth," the laws of heaven and earth, and then it goes on to say what will happen, all right? And what he's basically saying here in Jeremiah is that if it's not true that he's set these things up to govern, like it says in Genesis, then he's basically has no covenant with the people he says he has a covenant with, is basically what it comes down to there. But I'm gonna get into this in a minute now. To govern. What's that mean? To govern. Well, we have government, and that means mind control. Alright? Straight up, that's what government means. Ment means mind. Govern is to control. Government means mind control, alright? That's part of the reason why I'm an anarchist, because we don't need government. We got the laws of the universe, which were talked about in these Bible verses that I just read. There is darkness and there is light. There is right and there is wrong. And as human beings, we know what those things are inherently, alright? Yes, they get taught to little kids and such, but it's very intuitive what right and wrong is for the little children. That's why Jesus said for us to become like the little children, because what happens is the evil in the world, straight up evil, corrupts the child and programs them, all right? And it programs them not to understand what right and wrong is inherently. It gives them a new set of rules for them to define right and wrong themselves, which is called it's called solipsism, and it's where you believe that we as man and women define what right and wrong is, the individual, and it differs for different individuals. That's just not how the universe works, though. That's not what was created by the creator of everything, all right? And I want to go back and reference that third part of what I was reading in Genesis when it referenced the stars and how they govern, all right? First off, it says God put the lights in the sky to govern the day and the night, all right? And there are two great lights, and there's the sun and the moon, and that's really important. But then there's the stars, and they govern, the sun governs the day. The stars govern the day and the night. And the moon governs the night. And there's a lot of esoteric wisdom in just that, all right? And now I'm going to make my leap, which is astrology, okay? Now, Christians are programmed to believe that astrology is evil. But I just showed you right there in the book of Genesis, right at the beginning, Genesis chapter 1, astrology is not evil. God set these things in the sky as markers for seasons, but also as signs. He starts with signs first, right? Isn't that what astrology is? Signs. So what happens, this is one of the major reasons why I've come to the understanding I have of Christianity, one of them, and I'll get into more, but I know this is dangerous for a lot of people, but you please listen to what I'm saying, all right? When you start to study astrology, like really study it, and I would say the best way to do it is to get your natal chart, because it will have all your placements of all your planets. Then start to study what the planets mean. Start to study what the houses mean. Start to study about the sun signs, start to study about the moon signs, all right? Start to study about the angles and how the planets, when they are at particular angles, kind of work together or don't work with each other. And start to learn about the north and south node, all right? You'll start to understand astrology. You'll start to understand that God did put those things up in the sky to give us signs and markers and seasons and years and all that. And they do govern the day and the night, all right? I know that's a lot to digest for a lot of Christians, and they'll just flat out not do it. And I'm going to tell you right now, it's because you're programmed not to. Because if you look at the original ancient language of what I just read you, you're going to have to really think about what's being said there. Maybe you'll come to a different conclusion than me, but maybe not. And I would say have an open mind, and what's it hurt to learn astrology? That will just get you more informed, right? You can make a better decision on why it's evil, if it's evil. But what happens is people are programmed to think it's evil, right? There's some Bible verses that reference astrologers, but it's taken out of context, much like the context can be taken out nowadays. Like, people can say things and can be taken out of context. Well, you don't think this ancient writing can be taken out of context? I'm going to be getting into it, how it is taken out of context. All right, so that's going to be a part of this channel. So I hope you'll stop by and share this journey with me, because I'm going to lay it all out there, you know. And if you want to, I know you're supposed to probably say this at the beginning, but like this video, share it out, because other people need this knowledge. And if you share it out, other people might see it. You might catch some flack from some people, straight up. But sometimes it's worth doing, all right? Sometimes it's worth catching some flack, all right? So share it out, like, subscribe, hit my bell, hit my notification bell, so you can get alerts, so you can see my videos, because this is going to be a thing I'm going to be doing. Just stopping out here in the woods and grabbing a Bible verse, grabbing something to talk about from this book and talking about it, all right? You won't get a Bible study like this anywhere else, I'll tell you that much. So think about what I said. Read those verses for yourselves, all right? And if you take it to heart, maybe pick up an astrology book. It isn't going to curse you. You don't have to learn it to believe it. You can read it. You could find out what it says, and then see if it applies. See if it does describe your personality. See if it does describe your character. Maybe listen to some astrologers, not to use astrology, but just to see if it rings true, because God doesn't create deception, all right? Straight up. The truth is pretty easy to discern. Right and wrong is easy to discern. The light and the dark, the polarity of the extremes, and so is truth. Truth is just wherever the truth is in those polarities. That's the truth. That's what we're all here to find out, all right? And I've found astrology to be a great tool for finding out the truth. So I need to share it, and it's costing me a lot in my personal family life. I'm not going to get into that now, but I will, because at some point you just have to be yourself. And I'm like a new child right now, because I'm not holding back. All right, you guys, I'm listening to Jesus. He said, become like the children. That's what I'm going to do. All right, have a good one. 260 out.